The book I read is in my heart. Oh, we're the wrong way. There we go.
There we go.
Sally, oh my gosh, it's been a great day so far. We started off the morning. I started off at 6 a.m. actually with my first interview, and then went on to 7 a.m. with the starting of these interviews. And we're doing these throughout the day for our book.
The book I read. Here it is.
Oh, you have 2 copies?
Yeah,
Oh,
special.
I have 2 copies too. I guess I'm special too. And all the
I
names
was
of
like,
all
oh
the
wait,
authors.
because before I pulled it off of there, and I'm like, oh, now there's a space here. So I said, I gotta go find my other copy and put it up there.
There we go. There we go. It's such a fabulous book, way better than I ever imagined. When I heard, the story started coming across, I was like, wow, these are so good. The transformations that came from a book that they read. Now, here's the thing: is the only parameters we had is that it had to be one book, so they had to choose one book, and it had to be a book of transformation, and to share their story of the transformation that they got from reading the book. So the stories are absolutely fabulous, and we're going to bring on some of our authors today. So please stay tuned. We'll be back in just a second. Ladies, you're in the show. First of all, congratulations on being a 3 times best-selling author, or a best-selling author in 3 countries. Congratulations. Woo, woo. So excited. That's why I told everybody, mute yourself when you're not talking so you can't hear them clapping. And we're so excited to have you today to talk about, the transformation that you got from the book that you read, that book that really changed your life. And one thing I want to just start off with is asking everybody to answer this question. Sally, I'm going to start with you because you're in this book as well, is how did you choose the one book? So Sally, I'm going to start with you. How did you choose one book?
It was really hard because there were a number of books, and a lot of the books that were chosen here, the 4 Agreements that Jennifer chose, and Think and Grow Rich was a big part, and how it Win Friends and Influence People that Terry chose was a big part of my transformation. But I chose a book that transformed me, not because of the words, but because I was part of the book. And it's the people that I met and the transformation that I've made so far by saying yes and becoming part of that collaboration book that I write about. So that's how I chose. Originally it was a totally different book, and I had all of those books in my head. But yeah, that's how I picked it. And it wasn't until I actually sat down to write it that it came to me.
And if you want to find out what book she's alluding to, because she's not saying the name, it's in the back of the book I read. We went through and we found like the names and authors of all of the books that everybody mentions. And so you can go find that book. And hers is called One Habit for Entrepreneurial Success. I'll say it for her. Okay. And then, yeah, so it's really cool because, everybody choosing that one book. I've read so many self-help books. And then how did I decide on the one? So Rami, go ahead and unmute yourself and share with us. How did you pick your book, which is the Bible?
Bible. I went through a lot of searching for the right book. I wanted to pick entrepreneurial books and something that would impact a large crowd. And you know what? I had events going on in my life, and I just felt like this was the story that I had to tell. It really is a testimonial, some family issues that were going on. And I really felt that by telling this story, if it could impact one parent that was going through issues, it didn't even have to be a parent. Anyone who had an issue that they felt they had absolutely no recourse, there was nothing that they could do. They turned left, they turned right, and just nothing was fixing the problem. And I had a friend from church who had shared that she read the Bible for each of her 4 children. She read, 4 Bibles and kept kind of a journal of events in their lives and gave that to them as a gift. And I thought, you know what? Nothing else I'm doing is impacting my son's life, and maybe all I need to do is just buy a Bible. And I started reading, and I did keep a journal, and events started to transpire. And I do have his blessing in publishing this story as well. And it's impacted my life, it's impacted his, and maybe it'll impact someone else.
It's a really great story, and thanks for sharing that. Because if you read through, like you might think that, oh, she picked the Bible, and there may be some things that are similar to what you've got going on in your life and what have you. Well, pick up the book, find out what she's talking about, because they really are. It's interesting how we can all read the same exact book and get a different meaning out of it, get a different transformation. Some books I can only read like a couple pages. I'm like, I just can't read this anymore. Whereas other books, like I can't get enough of it. Right. And so I've read many books over and over and over again because I picked up something new each time. And so you're really just, diving in, reading Rami's story in the book I read, go get a copy of it, book.com. And that's what we're here for today, is to talk about that book, the transformation that everybody has had. So Legend, go ahead and share with us, DVM candidate, Legend, go ahead and share with us like the book that you chose and why you chose that one book.
So I actually didn't have like a multitude of books I was like trying to pick one out of. I knew right off the bat I wanted to choose this book. There was slight hesitation at points just because of which book it was. And it was The Shack by William P. Young, which I'm sure someone has either heard of, or the film version at least, or someone mentioned it. And the only reason why I hesitated is because, like you just said, Linda, how one maybe processes the idealism and the symbolism that is given throughout when reading a book or even watching a film in that regard impacts someone differently. But for me, as an individual who's been very strong in her faith her whole life, but sometimes has a hard time communicating it to others, especially when really hard questions are asked. And I can guarantee we've all been asked one of the very hard questions in the pot, because there's lots of them. Why do things happen? Why do bad things happen? Anything along that trajectory. But I found that this novel per se actually put into perspective why things happen the way they do and for the reasons at heart. And I'm not even going to quote it, because anyone who even asks me and I allude to it, I always tell them just go read the book or watch the film if that's more up their alley, because the experience and the impact it will have on you, and I say you in a public notion, it's very special, it's very powerful, and it's very intense. And I've read that book twice and watched that film countless times with different people. And the experience for every one of those individuals is very unique to watch, just watching them process it, watching a lot of the scenes. And now alluding to that in the book I read, Linda holding it up there, it's nice actually seeing it on paper. And because my chapter is titled A Conversation Between Friends, and this is the only thing I will give away. Sometimes we ask all these really hard questions, whether it's personal beliefs, geopolitics, war, look at everything happening on the planet at this moment. But there is one particular scene in The Shack, which I also allude to in my chapter, is at the end of the day, this relationship was supposed to be very simple as a conversation between friends.
There's a cliffhanger there. That's a good cliffhanger. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. And it's true. Oh gosh, Sally, you need to sit down a little, because the symbol's like the logo's right on your head. I don't know how that happened. Okay, there we go. Because earlier it wasn't on your head. Yeah, so it's so interesting. Like you said, I can watch the same movie sitting right next to you and get a completely different, result. And I know it's been fascinating because, Rami, you talked about, the Bible, and like when I go to church, it's like, oh God, he's talking right to me, but he's talking right to everybody else too, but it's for a completely different reason. So it is interesting how when we're going through our own lives, we'll get a different transformation, based on where we are in our lives as well. And so with that said, Jennifer, go ahead and share with us the book that you chose and why that one book.
Ooh. Well, it was kind of fun because I've never been a reader. I've always been a writer. But, we weren't allowed to leave our houses for the last couple of years. Reading kind of became a thing because we don't have cable TV either. And just recently, I went into a challenge where we were supposed to read a book, 10 pages a day. I was like, you guys, I'm not really a reader. What should I read? And somebody suggested The Four Agreements. And I was like, oh, I have that. I bought that like a year ago. I read 5 pages and was like, oh yeah, that's a really good book. Thought I learned everything in the first 5 pages. Now there's a reason that people write more than 5 pages because there's probably more to learn. So I took that challenge and decided to read this book and read it all the way through. Decided I'd been sitting in the shallow end of my life of learning for far too long, and it was time to take a deeper dive. And it was so powerful for me personally that then I shared it with my husband. And we started making the Four Agreements a part of our morning routine. And then it was like, oh, this is so powerful. So shared it with my daughter. We have them hanging on the fridge. And now it's just a way of life. And sometimes we do not like the little reminder of which agreement we have just broken. But it has been transformational. And for me personally, because I can't speak for my husband or my daughter, it has allowed me to live my life more freely, with more fierce joy, enthusiasm, and fulfillment than I've ever lived before. So if you want to know more about my story, definitely grab the book. And I guarantee you, having had the privilege of being one of the editors for this book, there's not one single story you're going to want to miss. This is phenomenal. Your life will be forever changed, whether you read the books or just the book I read. You will be transformed forever.
Definitely. And think that I love how she alluded to in her chapter. There's something that she talks about in there that really gets you thinking. So really, make sure you buy the book I read at thebookiread.com, the book I read book.com, and check it out. And I love her story in there. I was thinking, I wonder if she's going to mention it. Should I have her mention it? No, you got to go get the book to hear the story. So Alice,
leave them hanging just
exactly.
a little.
just a little. Alice, go ahead and share with us what book you chose and why.
The book I chose is Who's in Your Room. And for me, when I became aware of this opportunity, that was the book that came to my mind immediately. A couple of reasons for that. One, it has affected my life in various ways because that story applies to your life, your business, and the organization I was in is one of the things I talk about. And the fact that I've also had the opportunity on several occasions to speak with the author and have some in-depth conversations about it and how it applies to things. So that for me was an automatic, that's the one I'm going to do.
And that book, Who's in Your Room by Ivan Meisner, Stuart Emery, and Rick Sappi. I actually reached out to Ivan and I heard back from him. He wasn't available today to be on the show because I met him in a clubhouse room. You'll often hear me say I met so-and-so in a clubhouse room because a lot of people are in Clubhouse that you can make connections with. But I reached out to Ivan. He is the founder of BNI, which is, a large networking group. And I was just surprised he reached back out to me. He said, yeah, I'd be honored to be on. I'm not available that day. So it's really cool what happens when you step out. So what I would love to find out, actually, Sally, I'm going to throw it over to you to ask some more questions.
Sure.
Sally never knows what I'm going to do with her.
I never know what she's going to do. That's what makes it fun and interesting. Absolutely. So, so what, I just go around the room and I just want to ask each of you, maybe pick one aspect of your book, one maybe little snippet or story that really resonated with you and made an impact on you, on the book that you chose. So I'll start with you, Legend. What about the shack? Is there like one story or one part of the shack that really
I
inspired
kind
you?
of have to go to my backup option now since I highlighted one of them earlier, but that's okay. There's one particular scene where the main character in the shack is talking to God in the form of judgment and is making him play the role of God and judge everyone and everything from God's viewpoint. And he slowly learns what a challenge that is, and that the purpose God has is to create good out of all this evil and bad that only humans can see because we're flawed at the end of the day. And it's very, very powerful, especially whenever God in the form of judgment starts to incorporate his children and really challenges him. But at the end, truly lets him try to see how judgment is, at the end of the day, love, and seeing through God's eyes in that way. Because as humans, we're quick to judge on a daily basis. It happens because we're imperfect, and that's okay. But knowing that love is still the end result of what's coming for everyone is just a very powerful notion, and is something to remember even when we make mistakes ourselves, and even when we look for the grace to extend to ourselves to forgive ourselves, knowing that love is the end result. So that's definitely one of the powerful scenes for me.
Yeah, I love that book. And that, I remember reading that book and just crying. And I think it was the first time that I ever cried reading a book.
Mm-hmm.
It was just that powerful.
Sally's unemotional, so that's really a shocker. No,
exactly.
I'm very emotional, and she's like, not that she's not emotional, but she's on the opposite spectrum. Like, okay, let's just figure it out. And I get all emotional. Little sneak peek into the behind the scenes.
There you go. Alice, is there a section of the book that you chose that really stood out for you?
Well, I think for me in this book, it's actually the overall idea, which is if you lived in one room with one door, who would you let in? And you kind of go through some different scenarios with that about what kind of room do you want to have your life be or your business be? Because I actually read this at first, connected to my business, and then started saying, hey, this can kind of actually apply to my life as well. Do you want a negative room? Do you want a raucous room? Do you want a high stress room? I mean, all those things. And that gave me the opportunity to kind of think through logically and look at the people in my life, in my room, and who was there in a positive, supportive. It was a good thing to have them in my room, and some kind of connections that maybe weren't quite as healthy or constructive, and actually taking that as the permission per se, that it's okay. It's okay to decide that you want to have this life and look at how that is supported in a positive way. I mean, it was hard for me to write because I was looking at, it's not like I said, hey, here's the people I just kicked out of my life, but kind of being able to look at.
Yeah, she doesn't name names.
Yeah, just know that if you're in her life, that you're in her room. Right? It's interesting you mentioned that, Alice, because it was in 2014 when I first started this whole personal development journey and stuff. And I made a personal life declaration, like for the rest of my life, I'm going to have as much fun as possible hanging out with positive and uplifting people who are making a positive impact on the planet. And I remember the first time I said that out loud, I used to put on events, and I was putting on this event, and there were about, 30 people there. And I said that out loud. And after I said it, I thought, oh my God, how shallow does that sound? And people afterwards came up to me and said, I love your personal life's mission. I'm going to adopt that. And I thought that was cool how, what I thought was shallow because of the judgment, like Legend was mentioning judgment, the judgment I had about myself and the judgment I had of others at that time is that, even though I wanted to, I want to live a positive, happy life. What's wrong with that? Why do we think it's such a bad thing?
Exactly.
Yeah. See, there's no answer for it. Yeah. So let's go to Jennifer. And so Sally, ask the question.
Jennifer, what is there one part of your book that really resonated with you?
Oh, that's so hard. They're just four simple agreements. But for me, having survived abuse, neglect, mental illness, borderline personality disorder, there's a lot more to me than just this one chapter. But everything in life became personal. If somebody said no, it was personal. If somebody didn't invite me to something, it was personal. If I got invited and somebody that I wanted to talk to didn't talk to me, it was personal. Everything became personal. And eventually life just felt overwhelming and so heavy. And it was this constant, why doesn't anybody like me? I don't think I'm so bad. And I spent so much time crying and feeling like this teeny tiny little person that was invisible. When I watched the movie Chicago and he sang the song Cellophane, I was like, hello, that's me, Mr. Cellophane. And I couldn't stop crying. So reading through this book and understanding that one of those agreements is to not take anything personally. Woo, huge. Because now it isn't about how somebody says something or if somebody does or doesn't say something. It's not personal, because what others do has absolutely nothing to do with us and everything to do with them. And so I like to just remind myself, I want to be important, but I'm not that important to be the problem for everybody else. And so, so that's been huge, because now I can just take a no as a no and a non-invitation as maybe they just didn't think about it. It wasn't personal, because I know my life gets busy. So learning to not take things personal has allowed me to live so much more freely, to just accept that people are who they are, where they are, and so am I. And I love that.
I love that. And it really gives you that freedom, right? Because there was something you said at the end there. I wish I wrote it down, but if somebody doesn't invite you somewhere, something like that, is if we take it personally, then we can tend to feel like they didn't think about me. Well, and just like you said, the reality is that they have their own life. They have things going on. I had a situation in my own life where I forgot to message, like my husband, something happened. I had to take him to the hospital. This was a couple of years ago. And I just forgot to reach out to his daughter. Like, I just was not thinking. It wasn't the first thing that popped into my head. I got to reach out to his daughter. And later I felt bad about that, but it was in the moment, all I was thinking about was him, And so I took it that, there was something I did wrong. Me not reaching out to her, but so it goes both ways. And it's really interesting. Those 4 agreements. Oh my gosh. If you haven't read the 4 agreements, I highly recommend it. It's a great, great book. I've read it a couple times as well. And what Jennifer has done with it in her family, which she talks about in the book. So you got to get the book I read at bookiread.com. This is an all-day commercial, by the way, ladies. So, it's like hearing what she did with it. And then you can maybe say, oh, I should try that with my family and see how it works. So it's really, really great. So Sally, back over to you.
We're going to go to Rami. Rami, you chose the Bible. What one story in the Bible has impacted you the most that you've talked about?
The Old Testament is a little heavy. If you,
it sure is.
Yeah. But you know what really it stands out in my mind is, as I started telling the story of the transformation that I felt my reading along in the Bible was having on my relationship with my son, was I started with, in the beginning, God, which is the first line of the Bible. And I knew right then and there that I was turning it all over to God, that it wasn't for me to control. It wasn't for me to fix this situation. It was that I had to release and let God move in our lives. And I started telling the story with I was reading in Genesis that God was trying to convince Noah to build an ark, which was again the Lord asking Noah, trust in me. And it was at that point 5 weeks had gone by and I hadn't spoken to my son. He hadn't spoken to me, was really the point. And I put that together with the point that I was in the Bible. And as we went along, it was just me witnessing that the transformation that was going on in our relationship was impacted by the different chapters of the book of the Bible that I was in. So it was just reinforcing to me the need to release any control. When you're in a stressful situation, especially I find that when it involves your children, you're supposed to be able to fix it. Always, you're supposed to be able to fix it. And you can't. It's not for us to do. And it's a lesson to just release. And
what I love about your story in the book I read is that you put these points in your life together with the chapters of the Bible, or the sections of the Bible that you were reading through. And it's really fascinating because if you by reading her chapter, you can maybe just again seeing things from a different perspective, right? And that's what we're talking about here is perspective. How I read something is different than how you read something. My life is I'm in a different place in my life than you are. And so it's going to make a different impact. And my brain is in a different place than yours is. So it's really fascinating how different books have different impact on our lives, the transformation. And that's what these are all about. These stories here in the book I read are the transformation that these authors got from reading a book. And we did tell them to select one book. So they had to go through and figure out which is that one book going to be. Some of them instantaneously. I knew exactly what book it was going to be. And others, like, let me go figure this out. Which one am I going to choose? And so everybody is different, again, based on whatever they're experiencing in their lives. So we want to thank you ladies so much for being here with us today. Everybody go to thebookireadbook.com. Where are we right now, Sally? Have you looked lately? I haven't looked in the last, I don't know, 3 minutes. I'm refreshing my screen every 3 minutes or so. We're number 3. We are number 3 in the motivational business management. We're looking to hit that number 1 spot. So please, go purchase the book, thebookireadbook.com. It'll take you straight to the Kindle version. And with the Kindle version, you don't have to have a Kindle in order to buy the book. You can still read it online and stuff. So just go ahead and get that version. And if you want your $1.99 back, go ahead and email me your receipt to Linda, LYNDA @actiontakerspublishing.com. And I will PayPal you the $1.99 back. So just go purchase that because we're looking for that number 1 spot. With that said, what is one word that you want to leave our audience with? And so I'm going to start with Jennifer. Okay, well, she's still thinking. Okay, legend, one word you want to leave our audience with.
Liberating.
Liberating. Thank you so much. Alice, one word. Oh, you're muted. I know it was really good. You're muted. She was cracking up over there. Oh. This is like the talkies, like the old movies, right?
Exactly. I clicked it twice by accident. I was going to say that's what happens when you don't go first. Liberating was mine because that was the way I felt. Was liberated. So
well, you can use the same word.
I am.
Okay, good. Awesome. Jennifer, one word.
So one word about the book or just one word?
No, just one word for our audience. One word for them to leave with. Rami.
Inspired.
Okay.
I'm not a one-word girl.
Oh, this is good. We're stumping you. I love it.
Freedom.
There we go. Awesome. Great words. Okay, so Sally, this time I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget. We've got liberating ×2. We've got inspired and freedom. Everybody go get the book at thebookireadbook.com. thebookireadbook.com was taken. So go to thebookireadbook.com. Get a copy of our book. We're shooting for that number 1. Help us hit that. We're already a bestseller in 3 countries. So that's super exciting. But we're looking for that number 1 status. Does it mean a lot? Yes, it does. No, I'm just kidding. it's just a lot of fun. We're having a lot of fun here. And ladies, thanks so much for being here today. Appreciate you. We got our other guests that are sitting down there in the lobby. They're waiting to come in, and we'll see you ladies later. Have fun.
Bye now.
Bye. Okay, let's see here. Sally. Oh, wow. That was so good. So good, huh? You're muted.
There we go. All right. Yeah, no, I love that. It's great to share all these stories with everybody and hear their transformations.
Yeah, it really is. It's fabulous. And I love, again, that point of we could read the same book, but get a completely different message based on where we are in our own lives. And so what's cool about it, especially like we had 3 people had the 4 agreements, of which Jennifer was one of them. And they all have a completely different story, a completely different transformation. I really love what Jennifer did with it in her family. The 4 agreements, how they incorporated it into their family. I thought that was fascinating. And I keep threatening to do it, but I'm not sure if my husband's into that. So let me show a couple of the messages we've got here. Oops, let me get this thing off of there. Look at those, looking at these lovely ladies. Let's see here. We got big smiles. Love it. Judgment equals thumbs down. And there's actually positive and negative judgment. So there's judgment in a good way as well. So we go good judgment equals thumbs up. Bad judgment equals thumbs down. Let's see. Wow. Reframing. Love it. Love it. Love it. You're welcome. Jamie, she is hot on the keyboard today. She's just throwing it down. In the beginning, God, not middle or end, poignant. Yeah, that was so good. Yes. Let's see. Love the surrender and hard to pick one book. Yes. Well, Becky will be sharing how hard it was for her to pick a book in just a few minutes. So before we bring up our next ladies, we're going to go to just a quick commercial break, and we'll be back in about 30 seconds. So what you guys can't see is I could see Sally in the background there.
Turning my heat down.
Oh, I thought you were changing the. Oh, okay. That's cool. So
I have the thermostat
show,
behind
show them
me.
what you did. Show them what you did.
No, well, I have my painting over my thermostat. So.
There we go. I thought she was adjusting her artwork, and I was like, okay, she was turning her heat
behind my head anyway. So,
were you turning the heat up or heat down?
Heat down. I'm hot now.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I'm in California. I don't know what it's like in Connecticut today. So we're talking about the book I read. It's really a fabulous, fabulous book with many, many stories. We've got 50 stories in here of women and men that have read a book, and that book, created a transformation in their life. And so we're talking about the transformation that came from the book. We're not talking about the books themselves. So we're going to bring our next guest up to the stage. We've got Brigetti from South Africa. We've got Rita. Rita, I don't know where you live. You can tell us. Where are you from, Rita?
Well, I'm going to be in Orange County soon.
Orange County, Florida, or Orange County, California?
California.
There we go. Okay, so you're going to be right up the street from me. And then we've got Whitney. Whitney, where are you?
Sacramento.
California. And Becky. Where are you, Becky?
Yorktown, Virginia.
Whoop, whoop. Awesome. We got the whole world represented right here on this stage. So when you're not speaking, if you could mute, that would be awesome, just so we don't get any feedback. And we're so excited to have you ladies here today to talk about the transformation that you got from the book you read. And Sally, I'm going to send it on over to you to go ahead and start the Inquisition.
Is that what it's called?
I just decided to call it that, yeah.
Welcome, ladies. We're excited to have you here. We're a best-selling book on Amazon, and we are so excited. We have the book I read, and so I'm just gonna go around, and I'm gonna have you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about the book that you chose and why you chose it. So we'll start with you, Brigetti.
Awesome.
Oh, wait. Before Brigetti speaks, Brigetti, oh my God, she created some absolutely incredible promo videos, and I don't really know the best way to share them. So, Brigetti, any ideas? Because I know she's a live stream expert. She does this stuff all the time. Any ideas the best way for me to share those if I want to share them right now?
Just do a screen share from YouTube.
Okay, I'll go find them and I'll be right back. Brigetti, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. So hi, everyone. And Linda and Sally, thank you so, so much for the opportunity to be in the book I read. For me, it was, when I heard the title, it was kind of a no-brainer. I really didn't have to think about it at all because I've read other books over the years. But, the book that really has impacted my life greatly is none other than the Bible. Because it's impacted so many spheres of my life. It directs the way that I lead my life. It directs the way how I do things. It has been the most impactful over the years. Now, before I say my next sentence, I just want to qualify this and say that I am really, really, really now, I've been married for over 30 years. I am very happily married. I have a beautiful family, love my husband, love my children and my grandson. But we didn't start out that way. And I am really, really thankful for the guidance that I got in the Bible, because it helped me, it helped keep me focused when I needed it most. Because when I first got married, things were not the fairy tale marriage that most people read about. And I think any married person will agree that it seldom is. But, it was very difficult for me when you have this sort of fairy tale image in your mind about what marriage is and what it should be like. And I know that there's a book entitled I love you, but I'm not in love with you. So imagine you're newly married and your husband says, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. I was devastated. I was like, how can this happen? This is the man of my dreams, and most people at that point would think about calling it quits. But, the fact that I realized that my commitment in my marriage was first and foremost to God, which is what the Bible helped me appreciate. I realized that I could muster up the courage to have enough love for the both of us in the relationship until things could change. And I'm not going to lie, that wasn't easy. It was really, really difficult at times. But because I had that guidance and because I have so much respect for the Bible and for God in my life, it helped me remain centered at times when it was incredibly challenging, and then came along the period in my life when I had children. I had to raise my children. Where do you start? And again, I realized that if I wanted to give my children the best chance in life, if you buy a washing machine or a dishwasher or a hairdryer and you don't know how to operate it, what do? You go to the manufacturer's guide, because that's going to give you the best guidance. We all try and figure things out by ourselves sometimes, but if you get stuck, read the manual. And our manual, or the best manual for life, whatever the situation may be, has to come from the one who created us, which is God. And the way that he communicates with us is through his word, the Bible. And so if you're stuck for whatever reason, whether it's finances, marriage, whatever the problem is, there is an answer for it in the Bible. And so that's why I'm saying it's helped keep me centered throughout my life, no matter what the situation. And so therefore, when I was asked, the book had to be the Bible.
Yeah, a lot of times we need that change, we want that change, and we don't know how. And having that manual, like you said, because change is hard. It's that realizing, okay, you know what, something's not right here. I need to make a change. And now I need to do something about it. I need to figure out how to do this. And so I love that you share that aspect of it with us. So Thank you so much, Brigetti.
And with that said, hold on.
Okay.
We're going to do it. Here we go. Okay, we are going to show, let me do it this way. Okay, ready? Tell me if you can't hear it.
It's Terry Shepard, a proud contributor to the book I read, Stories of Transformation. Back in 1971, I read just such a book. Want to know what I learned? Grab this one.
So good. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thanks so much, Brigetti. And that was such a wonderful surprise when you started putting those together. Thanks for doing that.
Absolute pleasure. It's I was like a kid in a candy store, just trying to put something together.
That's so much fun. Okay, so we're going to move on to Becky. Why don't you share a little bit about your story, your chapter, and the book that you chose?
Okay, doke. So I chose the book Do It Afraid by Joyce Meyer. And there's a lot of stuff I could say that I did because I was scared. And Linda actually, when she started sharing about last year or the year before, when you started doing something that you were afraid of every single day, I was like, holy cow, this is so perfect. So that's not necessarily what that book is addressing. I mean, it's addressing do things that you're afraid of. So I've been through a divorce. I've been through, changing jobs. I'm getting to the point where I want to retire from my full-time job. And so I'm kind of propelling myself into my own business to get my entrepreneurial hat on and, do my own thing. And this book has really helped me step out of my comfort zone and dabble my feet into the waters of the unknown. And now I'm just like full force. I'm gone. I am so ready to get out there and do my own thing. And, in my mind, to make the world a better place. That's kind of what I'm all about, is encouraging and empowering women, in particular women. But, anybody who's kind of on the fence about different things in their lives. It doesn't have to be, finding a new job or, going through a divorce, just anything that's got you kind of tied up. You're not sure if you should go or you should not go, or, what are the circumstances and how should you look at it? And in my eyes, one of the previous speakers that you had she was like, you know what, do it. Like, do it now. Don't wait until you're older. I'm like, that's me. That's me. I'm doing it. Whatever it is, I'm going to, press forward and just keep marching. And I had to choose between this and the Bible. So that was tough, guys. That's a really hard choice to make. So yeah, totally agree with the first speaker. The Bible is our manual. And I believe that we have a gift that we want to share with the world, that we get out there and we share it, because you don't want to hide it under a bushel and, not share your gifts with the world. The world needs you. You just don't realize it sometimes.
That's so good. I love that. My mom lived so many years with so many regrets. And, she told me like 2 weeks before she passed away, I've lived most of my life with so many regrets. Go out there and live the rest of your life with no regrets. So when she said that to me, I had to look at that and say, well, what does that even mean for me? Because regrets, again, we're talking about transformation for one person is different than another. Whereas like regrets for me is different than regrets for you. So I had to decide, what does that mean for me to live my life with no regrets. And, breaking through fears, fear stopped me from living that life. And fear oftentimes leads to regret. When we let fear control what we do or don't do, it oftentimes leads to regret. So what are we doing in order to push forward? Do It Afraid, great book. I'm going to check it out myself and see what she has to say about fears. Because it was 2015. I broke through a fear every single day that year, and it totally transformed my life, by doing that. Fear, we can let it control us, or we can control it. So we get to decide. Thank you so much for sharing that, Becky. Awesome. So you chose this one over the Bible. Okay, so let's go with our next person. I'm going to go with Whitney because she also selected the Bible. So the Bible for the win, right? So go ahead, Whitney, share with us.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for all of this. And Brigetti, thank you for that video. Actually, both videos you showed, Linda, gave me goosebumps. So that must mean they're doing their job. So I did choose the Bible, and I am in absolute agreement with Brigetti that it's a life instruction manual. And when I read it for the first time, I was at a place in my life where I would say I was broken. I had been through a divorce. It was not pretty. I was a single mother, was really struggling in my life with some behaviors that were not serving me. And I just felt like I needed some peace in my life, and I didn't know where to turn. And I kept just asking, not even sure who I was asking. I believed in God, but I didn't know God. And so I just was asking, what's wrong with me? What's going on with me? And I had this encounter out one morning when I was out running. And I heard the voice just as clearly as I just heard you speaking, Linda. And the voice said, "Try me, give me a try." I knew right then it was God. And the next thing I knew, I found myself at a church. I had not been a church attender. I'd been to church a couple of times throughout my life. You go Christmas and Easter with family and whatnot, but that had not been a central aspect of my life. And I started going to church. I sat down with the pastor, and I was just telling him I had tried to read the Bible over and over again, and I would get to like the begats, and I couldn't get any further. I was just like, I was like, I can't do this. And his advice was to try reading the Bible in a year, and to start where I was. And it just so happened that it was the book of John, that sort of the day that I started was in the New Testament. And it made all the difference, because I understood that the Bible and God wasn't about do not, it wasn't about this long laundry list of rules of what you should not do, but it was about God's love. And that made all the difference for me, and how I approached the things that I was struggling with, and wanting to live my life in a way that glorified God, because he did love me. And so that was the start of it. And what really reinforced all of this for me later was that I lost my son in 2005. And I really attribute my relationship and my faith with God in helping me move through that time of my life, and move ultimately into a place where I'm thriving in my life. I'm remarried and have a thriving business, wonderful relationships with people. And it would not have happened without the Bible and the transformation that came of that. If I had continued down the path that I was on, I can only imagine the horrible life that I'd be living now. So. Can't hear you.
Thank you, Whitney, for sharing. Rita, why don't you tell us a little bit about your book and your chapter, and what the transformation was that occurred?
Yeah, so my book is from Dr. Joe Dispenza, Breaking the Habit of Being You. I was always on a meditation journey, and if anyone can relate to trying meditation or wanting to try it, it is, I would say, for me personally, I experienced a challenge in staying consistent with meditation. And I know many other people have expressed that challenge with me when they try to embark on meditating, just due to the fact that it's such a foreign a foreign way of being. It's not, we're not used to living from a place of being completely tapping into the unconscious mind. We're just so used to being in the conscious mind. So when I picked up and read the book by Dr. Joe Dispenza, it really helped me really stay committed to my meditation practice, and where you actually will start to get the benefits of regular meditation. Because Dr. Joe goes deep, deep, deep into how our brains work, in terms of the mind body connection, how the mind and body communicate with each other. And also, everything is energy, and everything releases a certain energy frequency out into the electromagnetic field outside of us. So, like, we're just doing an energetic dance with everything, right? We're either pulling something away from us, pushing something away from us, just due to the energy within us. So we all can read energy. We've all experienced going to a party and someone may have a smile on their face, but we know they're not really, it's not a real smile. We can feel their energy. So we're releasing neuropeptides into the air, through our thought waves. So when you go deep like this and you truly, truly understand that this is real, this is actually scientifically based, and also to the regular practice of meditation helps you have your visualizations become more vivid. You become a better visualizer. And so, because again, doing mental visualizations is not something that we do naturally, because we were never conditioned to do that as children. So it is a muscle. So when I began to commit to regular meditation practice, that is when I was able to really achieve emotional mastery, have more clarity. And, like, whenever I felt like, so many decisions before me, what decisions to make, I just, okay, sit down and meditate on it. Whenever I felt like there's been a long day, it's been a lot of stress, just sit down, meditate, release that stress out of my body. It's really been a great way to, achieve self and emotional mastery. And I've also learned a lot about myself through meditation, in terms of self-reflection, being more tuned in to what's really going on with me. Because when you start to practice meditation, you start to get really tuned into your heart rate, how your body feels, your your awareness levels really do amplify. Anyone who's actually meditated, especially doing a transcendental meditation, even if you're not a regular meditator, just pay attention to when you open your eyes, after a quiet meditation. It could be a 15-minute, 20-minute meditation, and you actually, like, your senses do increase, because you start to notice more details in the room. Your awareness levels do amplify, and within yourself and within your surroundings. So it just makes, when you're more aware, you're tuned in more to truth, inner truth, and you're able to make better decisions. You're able to be more confident, and you're not going to be baited into illusions, meaning, someone tries to get you upset or frustrated due to these ego games human beings like to get caught up into sometimes. You won't get caught up into those egoic games as much, because you're in tune to truth. You're tuned into you and not so much into these ego games that others may play that they're not even aware that they're playing, right? To satisfy their ego. So you're more empowered. It leaves you more empowered. You will create more success in your personal life, in your business life, because it all comes down to making better choices in life, better decisions, and staying emotionally empowered, not letting your emotions get scattered, not letting your thoughts be scattered, right? You need to have that tunnel vision, that laser vision,
Right.
to achieve what you want to achieve in life.
Yeah. A meditation is so important, and I think a lot of times that gets lost. That the whole meditation and prayer, and being able to stop and listen to our thoughts, and to just visualize and have that meditation. So thank you so much, Rita, for sharing.
I have a special announcement to
Go ahead,
make.
Linda.
Oh my God. I've been behind the scenes working, y'all. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to share this to here. And we hit number two in the new age mental and spiritual healing. We still have the guy, Tyler Henry. I don't know who he is, but he's ahead of us. Now, I looked over here and I saw Matt Damon is ahead of us in this motivational business management. And Matt Damon is also ahead of us in business motivation and self-improvement. We got our work cut out for us. We got to make those, sales, bottom line. It's really just, spending $1.99 to help us to beat Matt Damon. I don't know. We'll meet Tyler and Matt Damon. That's what we're looking for today. So, okay, Sally, back to you. I just had to throw that in there today.
All right. So that's awesome. Number two. Where are we? Are we I don't know, Linda. Where are we?
You want me to come back? I'm back. Okay. But thank you, ladies, so much for, being part of this book, sharing your story. We got some feedback going on there. Let me mute everybody. For being part of this, sharing your stories, your stories of transformation. I really enjoyed reading them all. And it was cool that we had two of you that picked the same book right here on the stage at the same time. That was cool. That's the first time that's happened today. And you're just hearing your stories and how, a certain book at a certain point in your life, you were at a certain point where, who was it said Whitney, I think you said the book was basically saying, give me a try, right? Was that Whitney? Yeah. Give me a try. And there was someone earlier. It was Mary. She said, the book was sitting on her shelf. It had been there for like a year. And it said, read me. And it's interesting. We have these things happen in our lives. How often are we actually listening to them and doing that, which, we're being told something by somebody. So whatever you believe in, I believe in God as well. And that, he's giving me these little hints. And sometimes it takes a big hint. We don't want those big hints. We want those little hints. They're a lot more palatable. But, thank you so much all for being part of this journey, sharing your book, the book that transformed your life in our book, The Book I Read. Again, get your copy at thebookIreadbook.com. We're almost at that number one. We just need one more. I think we just need like one big push, to hit that number one there. And it's just a lot of fun, like what we're doing, putting this all together. But go get your copy of The Book I Read at thebookIreadbook.com and read through their stories. These stories of transformation. Reach out to the authors. Their information, their contact information is in the book. Please reach out to them if you resonate with the story that they shared with you. Our last book, Wellness for Winners, we had several people that sent messages saying people reached out to me and said that my story transformed their life. So just by sharing your story, you can make a huge impact on somebody's life, but you got to share it with the world. So ladies, thank you so much for being here. What I'm going to do is go around and ask one word that you want to send our audience away with. Brigetti? Oh, and you'll need to unmute yourself. So Brigetti.
My one word is I thought long and hard about what it could be. It's going to have to just be faith.
Good one. I love it. And then Whitney, one word?
Love.
Love. Faith, love. Becky?
Persevere.
Faith, love, persevere. See what I'm doing now, Sally? I'm repeating them so I don't forget them. Okay, Rita?
Transformation.
Faith, love, persevere, transformation. I got them all. I got them all. This is so much fun, ladies. Thanks so much for being here. My word. Oh, Sally, what's your word? You're muted.
It's got to be stillness.
Stillness. Okay, my word. Are you ready for my word, everybody? Get ready. Get a notepad out. Get a pen or pencil out. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. That's my word.
Somehow I knew that, Linda.
You did? Did you really?
That's who you are.
I did that I was speaking at this event, and at the end they asked, 'cause I was on a panel of 5 women, I think. And at the end they went, asked everybody their word, faith, spiritual, like all these. And I came with supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. People were cracking up. I just couldn't leave. It was so serious. Like, let's break it up, ladies. So this has been a blast having you on here today. I know you have some more interviews you got to head out to. We have our final day, final end of the day launch party coming up at 5 p.m. Pacific time. It's going to be a blast. And I look forward to seeing you ladies at that one as well. Thanks so much for being on this journey. And we look forward to having you in some of our future books. Oh, did I tell you guys, we're having a big special. We have our BOGO offer, buy 1 chapter, get 1 chapter free. If you go to actiontakerspublishing.com, you'll see it right there. And that expires on April 9th. So buy 1 chapter, get 1 chapter free. And Whitney, you want to talk about our book? Oh, let's see, which one? Let's talk about, the joy of work, the joy of work.
The joy of work.
Here we go.
So, absolutely. So the joy of work, we're accepting authors right now. It is a book that is going to be written by people who are doing work that they love, and they'll be sharing their stories, their journeys of finding that work, the lessons they've learned along the way, and helpful hints that others can use that can help them move to a place so that they do the work they love and love the work that they do. So if you are someone who loves what you do and you want to share your journey, share the lessons that you've learned, we would love to have you be a part of that.
Awesome. That one's so fantastic. And then talk about the other one too. The Year of Yes. Action takers who lived a year of yes and what they learned.
Year of Yes. So Linda and I are going to be doing this book. It is not just a book. It's a absolute journey. We will be starting later this year, and we will have mastermind groups every month for a year as you are exploring saying yes to things that and maybe you're afraid of, or things that you've never said yes to before, and looking at how you change in the process of saying yes. And then the book will be published in 2024, early 2024, right?
Yeah. And that one's going to be, it's different. Again, it's going to be a whole journey. So we're going to journey together for a year, saying yes to things that serve us and, serve our purpose while we're here. And so it's not about saying yes to everything, like everybody who asks you something, say yes. It's not that kind of thing. It's about saying yes to you. It's about saying yes to you. And so it's going to be just a phenomenal event. And my husband just got home, so the dogs are going crazy. But again, go to actiontakerspublishing.com and go take advantage of that BOGO offer. That BOGO is good until April 9th. Again, you buy 1 chapter, get 1 chapter free. So thank you, ladies, so much for being here today, being part of this journey with us. And we look forward to seeing you soon. Actually, whenever. I look forward to seeing you whenever I see you.
Thanks, ladies. Bye.
Thank you so much. Okay, so Sally, we're wrapping it up for this session. We're going to have our next session about 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time, and looking forward to that. But in the meantime, what would you say? What is your thought of so far of today's launch day?
Yeah, it's so exciting that we're, here we are, we're moving up, climbing up the ladder. We're getting closer and closer to that #1 spot. And I think we're going to hit it. We're going to hit it.
We're going to hit it. Yeah.
We're going to hit it.
We are going to hit it for sure. And, it's just a matter of, keep pushing forward. It's not happening as fast as some of the other books, but that's okay. It's all, everything is different based on what's going on in the world at that time. And that's what we're working with right now. We're up against Matt Damon. That's kind of an interesting one. So we'll see what happens.
Last time we had Tony Robbins up against us. So.
Yeah, we passed Tony Robbins. So we can do it. We can do it. I just know it. I just know we can do it. It's been a fabulous day. Really enjoying what we're doing today. And we'll be back at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern. And watch us on Facebook at actiontakerspublishing.com. And then we're also on LinkedIn. Let me see. Where are we on LinkedIn? Are we on
LinkedIn, and we're on YouTube on our Women Action Takers YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, and on LinkedIn, it's at my personal page, Linda Sunshine West. So it's Linda Sunshine West on LinkedIn. You can watch us over there as well. But we look forward to seeing you, for our future interviews coming up again at 4 p.m. Pacific time, right here, same bat channel but different bat time. We'll see you soon.
I'm Marilyn Crump, expert dreamcatcher, business developer, and marketing strategist. And I really wanted to step in here to say just how amazing my experience has been in the recent days, because I am yet another #1 Amazon best-selling author. Woo! So it's very amazing to say that. And in this book, The Fearless Entrepreneurs, I was really engaged with just some fantastic co-authors as well. The publisher, Linda Sunshine West, just made everything so super easy. I'm a very busy entrepreneur, and I'm doing a bunch of things that I can think of to make sure that I'm getting out there and really telling my story. And this was such a brilliant way for me to get involved. And what I loved the most about this process was that there was a lot of cohesion with all of the different authors. I've been in other types of contribution books like this, but sometimes you don't get to know everybody and you don't really know what everybody's talking about. Then you almost feel kind of strange that the stories don't all quite align, even though you're under the same subject. I just feel like this one, it was very well explained. The premise was well set. The intention was there. And it was really easy to be in the flow with the other authors. So I just want to congratulate everybody else who's in the book and to thank Linda Sunshine West for the opportunity. I'm just truly excited to be a part of it.